I just helped start here nationally and in Louisville a group called Showing Up for Racial Justice. And after the election of the first black president, there, instead of, oh, now we're in, la la land and post-racial, which people who should have known better were saying, instead there was a tremendous racial backlash. He's not our president, he's not American, take our country back, all of that. So people of color, especially African Americans, said, where are the white people responding to this? Why are we always the ones responding to this? So we pulled together a network of white racial justice activists who are trying to grow a response that when something happens, like Ferguson, like Trayvon Martin that there are white people also saying this is not okay. Not to take over, to respect the leadership of black and brown youth, for instance, in Ferguson, but to say, how can we help? Or to say, we need to be talking to other white people about this. We have a chapter here in Louisville, and it meets monthly, and it's to get more white people to step up around racial justice. If we're talking about the minimum wage and it's going to disproportionately impact young people of color or people of color who are in those minimum wage jobs, then we need to be down at City Hall pushing for a raise in the minimum wage. So it's been good work, and it inspires me because, I don't want my sisters and brothers of color to have to be the ones to try to convince all the white people. Some of us who are white people need to do that. And it's interesting because it's not a new thing. Back in the civil rights movement, at a certain point, leaders like James Patterson and others said, okay, white folks, we love having you here helping, but we need you to go convince some more white people to stand up for civil rights. So it's kind of this legacy that I feel like we still have to carry and have to do that work. And
are they coming? Are more white people coming?
Yes.
As we see Louisville becoming a more diversity itself, is it bringing in different kinds of?
Yeah, we're finding more people are open to it. What we're finding is that people aren't sure what to do. They're like, okay, but what if I don't do it perfectly? I'm like, get over it. You're not going to do it perfectly. Know that you are going to make mistakes. You have grown up in a racist society. You have sucked all this, absorbed all this stuff. You're going to make mistakes. But it's better for you to get out there and make some mistakes than to sit home and people get to assume that you don't care. Because silence and inaction in a situation where injustice is happening can be seen as acquiescence. It can be seen as tolerating it. For me, I know if I'm not doing something about it, within my capacity, obviously, then it's a silence, and silence can be consent. So, and it's not a browbeating. What we do is we work with white people about, so you care about this, right? So what would you feel like you could do? We had a whole session on writing letters to the editor, It's like when you see something happen and you realize that it's racial injustice, what about you write a letter to the editor and come out as a white person? Come out and say, I'm a white person and I don't believe it's fair that in the Jefferson County school system, children of color are disciplined at disproportionately more severe rates and are ending up dropping out at higher rates, often because of that, being expelled, etc. If you see that happening, what about instead of just sitting there thinking about how that's a terrible thing that's happening, you pick up your pen and you write a letter. And if you're not sure how to write a letter, you get somebody else to give you some tips about how to write a letter. It was a popular session. We had another one about where my sister Naomi, who's a theater person, she came in and she helped people. Imagine, what if every day that you went out your door, you knew that there was a chance that you were going to be treated poorly because of your race. You didn't know what your day was going to look like, but you knew there was a chance that you were going to be treated. So white people don't have to think about that. I don't have to think that I'm going to walk out the door and I will be treated badly because of my race. I might be treated badly because of my sexuality, but not because of my race. And so we try to get people to how do we grow that bridge of connectivity and understanding? And so it's been interesting. It's been challenging, but I like challenges.